Betrayal isn't just a mistake, it's a declaration of war. He had built his life on dominance, unquestioned, unchallenged. Power wasn't given, it was taken, enforced with iron fists and an unbreakable will. His name commanded fear, his presence demanded respect. And when he chose her, she became part of that empire. He gave her everything: wealth, status, security. More than that, he gave her him. And she threw it all away. One message, one picture, one moment of weakness that would cost her everything. Because he wasn't the kind of man you betrayed and walked away from. He was the kind of man who made sure you never forgot the consequences. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as every like truly inspires me. Now, let's get started. I had always known the kind of man I needed to be, one who commanded authority, who ensured that no one around him ever questioned their place. My reputation wasn't built on kindness or second chances. It was built on certainty, on the absolute knowledge that crossing me came with consequences. Whether in business, on the streets, or within my own home, my name carried weight. My fists enforced the rest. I was never one to plead, never one to break. Weakness disgusted me. I had forged my own way from the ground up, fought for every scrap of what was mine, and I never allowed anyone to take what belonged to me. That principle extended to my wife. Ella was flawless. Her curves made men forget how to speak. Her lips curled in a knowing smirk, as if she held secrets men would die to learn. When I first laid eyes on her, she played coy, but I wasn't one to leave things to fate. I eliminated every pathetic excuse of a man who thought they had a chance. She became mine, and I made damn sure she understood that. I gave her a life most women could only dream of. A penthouse with a skyline view, getaways to the world's most exotic destinations, jewelry that left her so-called friends seething with envy. But more than wealth, I gave her me. And I wasn't some uncertain, hesitant fool who let his woman wonder where she stood. I provided for her in every way that mattered, or so I believed. Then the signs began. Subtle, at first. Late nights with unnamed friends, a new scent clinging to her skin, richer, muskier, one meant to linger on someone else. The way she gripped her phone, checking it too frequently, too urgently. The way she turned away when she typed. She thought she was being careful, thought I wouldn't notice. I let it slide, for a while. I wanted certainty, a mistake, a careless moment. Then, one night, my phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. I opened it, and ice spread through my veins. A picture. Another man, exposed, proud, and arrogant, with a caption designed to rip me apart from the inside out. Your wife's favorite toy. Rage flared inside me, hot and unrelenting. My fingers clenched around my phone, nearly crushing it in my grip. This wasn't just betrayal. It was an insult, a deliberate humiliation spat directly in my face. No one laughed at me. By the time Ella walked through the door, the apartment had been stripped of every trace of luxury. She stepped into a hollowed-out space, every possession wiped from existence. The furniture, gone. The jewelry, vanished. The designer dresses I had draped her in, disappeared. All that remained were bare walls, and on one of them, my parting gift. A blown-up print of the picture her lover had so graciously sent, taped where she couldn't ignore it. Beneath it, in thick black ink, I left her a message. I hope it tasted good. But that was just the beginning. The real surprise awaited her in the bedroom. I met Ella when I was 28. By then, I was already a man others feared. I had built my empire from nothing, not through luck, not through inheritance, but through relentless determination. No handouts, no safety nets. My father had been a violent drunk, a man who spoke with his fists more than words. My mother had been a ghost in her own home, flinching at the sound of his footsteps. By 16, I was already fighting, first in the streets, then in underground rings where the stakes were real, and pain was the price of survival. It hardened me, etched ruthlessness into my very bones. By the time I met her, I wasn't just successful, I was untouchable. My name carried weight in business, in real estate, in deals that were never meant to be recorded. People knew better than to test me. They didn't dare. But Ella? She was different. She had that refined, high society polish, the kind of beauty that belonged to old money families. But beneath that poise, I saw the hunger, the fire. It was there in the way her gaze lingered a fraction too long, in the way she feigned disinterest. She played the game well, but I had always known how to win. Women like her didn't want weak, pampered trust fund boys. They wanted men who took what they wanted. And I did just that. Within a year, she was mine. It was fast, consuming. Private jets, fast cars, diamonds dripping from her fingers, silk sheets beneath her. I gave her everything. And when our son Ryan was born 2 years later, I believed I had it all. A wife others envied, a son to carry my name, a future built on dominance and security. I had been a fool. While I worked to ensure we had the best of everything, she had been spreading her legs for another man. The betrayal burned, but the insult cut deeper. I hadn't just given her a life of luxury, I had given her loyalty. No matter the blood on my hands, no matter the violence I had left behind, I had never once lifted a finger against her. I had protected her, cherished her, made certain she never felt alone, never felt unguarded. And how did she repay me? By turning our marriage into a joke, by making me the fool. No, this wasn't just adultery. It was about power. That message wasn't merely proof of an affair, it was a challenge. A pathetic, arrogant little man believed he could take what was mine and flaunt it. That wasn't going to stand. The second I saw that text, I knew exactly what needed to be done. A real man doesn't sit back and nurse his wounds. He retaliates. So I did what any man in my position would. I went after him. It required no real effort. I had connections, people in my debt, people who specialized in uncovering secrets. Within 60 minutes, I had it all. His name, his location, the pitiful details of his life spread out before me like an open book. Joshua Donovan, a vain, muscle-headed gym rat who mistook brawn for invincibility, who carried himself with the arrogance of someone who'd never been properly put in his place. I didn't hesitate. I got in my car and drove straight to his apartment, my fingers twitching, my knuckles already burning for contact. Knocking was never an option. I put my boot through the door, the wood shattering under the impact. He was sprawled on the couch, lost in his phone, utterly unaware of the storm barreling straight for him. The moment his eyes found mine, his face drained of color. "You think this is funny?" My voice was too calm, the kind of calm that preludes devastation. "Wait, listen." He never finished. My fist connected with his jaw, sending him collapsing in on himself like a cheap folding chair. But that wasn't nearly enough. I grabbed him by the collar, hauling him up before slamming him against the wall, the drywall caving beneath the force. My voice was a low growl, words slipping through clenched teeth. "She's my wife. Not yours. Not ever." He gasped for air, clawing at my grip, his chest heaving. "She came to me," he wheezed. "She wanted it." White-hot rage detonated in my chest. My fist drove into his ribs once, twice, again. A sickening crack, a strangled moan. He crumpled, struggling to suck in air, his hands feebly pushing at my arms as if he could stop what was coming. "You think this is a game?" I pressed my forearm against his throat, his desperate wheezing the only sound between us. "You think you can steal from me and walk away unscathed?" His mouth opened, some frantic excuse forming, but I didn't care to hear it. I let go. He collapsed onto the floor, coughing, curling into himself like a wounded dog. Crouching beside him, I wrenched his phone from his trembling hands. A few swipes were all it took. The messages were right there. The pictures. The damning words seared into my mind like a brand. I need you so bad, baby. I can't stop thinking about you. He doesn't touch me like you do. My jaw tightened until it felt like my teeth might shatter. Then I saw it. A video. I pressed play. There she was, my wife, bare, moving, writhing beneath him, moaning his name like I had never existed, like everything I had given her, every moment, every sacrifice, had meant nothing at all. And that's when I knew. This wasn't a fleeting mistake. This was a blade plunged straight into my back, a betrayal so deep there was no returning from it. I rose slowly, my fingers flexing, knuckles cracking, body thrumming with violent certainty. My eyes locked onto him, and he saw it. He knew exactly what was about to happen next. You made a mistake, I told him, my voice calm but final. Then I made sure he wouldn't be getting up again anytime soon. When Ella stepped through the door that evening, she was completely unaware of the storm waiting for her. She had no idea that I had already pieced it all together. The messages, the videos, every filthy little secret she had thought was buried beyond my reach. I had read every word she had whispered to another man, right there in our bed. And she didn't know that Joshua had already faced his reckoning. She entered looking drained, her makeup smeared, her hair an unkempt mess. Had she even bothered to glance in a mirror before coming home? Had she washed him off her skin before stepping inside? Her eyes landed on the picture taped to the wall, Joshua's smug face frozen in time, my words scrawled beneath it in bold ink. The color drained from her face. Her purse slipped from her grasp. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Harvey, She never got to finish. I took a step forward, and she instinctively recoiled. "Go on," I said, my voice eerily even. "Say whatever pathetic excuse you're about to spit out." Her eyes welled with tears, but they weren't tears of regret. No, she wasn't mourning what she had done, only that she had been caught. That's when I knew. She felt no true remorse, only the sting of exposure. I nodded slowly, my expression unreadable. "That's what I thought." Then I turned and walked away. "Harvey, wait. Please, let me explain." I didn't acknowledge her. I strode toward the bedroom, knowing she would follow, knowing she was about to come face to face with the truth I had laid bare for her. The moment she stepped inside, a strangled cry left her lips. Her hands flew to her mouth, her body trembling as she took it all in. The bed, gone. The silk sheets, the plush mattress, erased. In their place, a table. Atop it, an unshakable testament to her betrayal, her wedding ring, a stack of printed messages, each one a damning record of her deceit. A USB drive labeled "Play Me." A carefully folded outfit, the same one she had worn in the video I had pulled from Joshua's phone. And the most striking piece of all, a baseball bat, still stained with blood. Her eyes darted from the bat to me, horror widening her expression. "What? What did you do?" she choked out. I smiled, but it held no warmth, no mercy. It was the smile of a predator who had already struck. I handled it. The realization hit her like a physical blow. Her knees buckled, and she collapsed onto the floor, her breath ragged. "Harvey, I never wanted you to find out this way." A bitter laugh escaped me. "That's what concerns you? How I found out? Not the fact that you sold yourself to some weak coward who couldn't even protect himself?" Tears streaked down her face, but I remained unmoved. I had given her everything, my name, my loyalty, my strength, and she had discarded it without a second thought. I crouched before her, gripping her chin and forcing her to meet my gaze. "Why?" My voice was sharp, unrelenting. "Why him?" She swallowed hard. I expected a lie. But for once, she told the truth. "You scare me," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I stilled. She exhaled, shaky and unsteady. "You're too much, Harvey. Too intense. Too powerful. Being with you felt like drowning." A cold, humorless chuckle left my lips. "So your solution was to spread your legs for another man?" She closed her eyes. Joshua wasn't better than you. He was less, less demanding, less consuming, less everything. I just wanted to feel free. I studied her, silent, before leaning in until my lips were near her ear. You want to be free? She shivered. I straightened, reaching into my pocket. From it, I pulled out a key. Her brows furrowed. What's that? I let it fall to the floor in front of her. The key to your new home. Confusion flickered in her tear-streaked face. She looked between me and the key. What do you mean? I stepped aside, revealing the open closet behind me. Inside, a single suitcase, her only remaining possession. No luxury, no comfort, just the bare minimum. You wanted less? Well, now you have nothing. Her face crumpled. Harvey, please. I silenced her with a look. I want you gone. Now. She hesitated, then whispered, What about Ryan? My jaw clenched. Our son. You don't deserve to be his mother. She gasped, shaking her head violently. You can't do that. I already have. I stepped closer, towering over her as she shrank under my glare. I have proof. Evidence that you abandoned your family for a meaningless affair. That you put your selfish desires above your own child. No judge will give you custody. She crumbled, her face etched with despair. I never meant for it to go this far. I exhaled slowly, my voice cold as steel. But it did. Tears streamed down her face as her frame quivered, but I remained unmoved, watching with a quiet, icy satisfaction. This was her doing. Every bit of it. The final move. My fingers brushed against my pocket before slipping inside, retrieving a slim envelope. Without a word, I tossed it onto the table. Her trembling fingers struggled to tear it open. The sharp intake of breath that followed told me everything I needed to know. Inside, glossy prints stared back at her, photographs of Joshua, a chronicle of what I had done. Her hands shot to her mouth, her eyes widening in pure, unfiltered horror. I smiled. I warned you, didn't I? My voice was almost gentle. I take care of what belongs to me. I turned and walked away, leaving her to absorb the wreckage she had so carelessly wrought. She remained frozen, kneeling on the floor, her fingers clutching the damning evidence, her breath uneven, lips parting and closing as if searching for words that refused to come. I could practically hear the desperate calculations running through her mind, the frantic search for an escape, for some loophole, some way to undo the irreversible. But there was none. Not this time. When she finally lifted her head, the color had drained from her face. Harvey, she rasped, her voice fragile, this could put you in prison. A low chuckle escaped me. Prison? I took a slow, deliberate step forward. Do you honestly believe I fear something like that? I watched as realization seeped into her bones, chilling her from the inside out. She had always known what I was, had danced on the edge of the fire, convinced it would never burn her. That was her mistake. Crouching down, I caught her chin between my fingers, forcing her to meet my gaze. Do you want to know the best part, Ella? My whisper ghosted against her skin. She swallowed hard, her breath shallow. Leaning in, I let my lips graze the shell of her ear. No one will believe you. She went rigid. You're the unfaithful wife, I continued, a trace of amusement lacing my tone. The woman who betrayed her husband, abandoned her child, tossed aside everything for a fleeting thrill. If you try to pin Joshua's fate on me, I pulled back just enough to smirk. They'll write you off as a spiteful, lying whore. Her lips parted, but no sound escaped. I saw it then, the moment the fight drained from her, the moment she understood the weight of her choices and what they had cost her. Reaching into my jacket, I produced the last piece of this grim puzzle. Divorce papers, signed and ready. I let them fall onto her lap. It's over. Filed. Sign them, and you get to leave with something. She stared at me, really looked at me, as though seeing a stranger for the first time. Good, because the man who once loved her no longer existed. I turned to go, pausing briefly at the door. A final thought. She raised her head, her expression pleading. I smirked. Next time you let another man put his hands on you, I said, voice sharp as a blade, remember the cost. Then I walked out, never once looking back. I expected her to sign, to take what little dignity she had left and disappear. But Ella never knew when to stop. 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks of silence. 2 weeks where I poured my energy into my son, into rebuilding, into erasing her from my life. Then my lawyer called. She's contesting the divorce, he informed me. My grip on the phone tightened. What? She's fighting for custody of Ryan. That delusional, reckless woman. She had nothing, no job, no income, no home. I had made certain of that. I had stripped her of everything, leaving only the scraps I had allowed her to keep, yet she still believed she had a chance. Fine. If she wanted a battle, I would end the war. I dug deeper, called in favors, unearthed just how far she had fallen. It didn't take long. Drugs, alcohol, a downward spiral of reckless indulgence, drowning herself in pills and meaningless distractions. There were photos, videos, a mountain of evidence that would obliterate her in court. But I wouldn't stop there. I was going to ruin her. The night before the hearing, she called. I almost ignored it. Almost. Curiosity won. Her voice, when she spoke, was frayed. Harvey, please. I said nothing, letting the silence stretch. Then, she broke. A ragged sob. I made a mistake. I exhaled slowly. No kidding. Her voice wavered. I just wanted to feel something again. I closed my eyes. She still didn't get it. You had everything, Ella. My voice was low, steady. A husband who adored you. A family. A life most people can only dream of. And you torched it. A shuddering breath from the other end. I know. There it was. The weight of her ruin settling in. The quiet acceptance of what she had done. She was finished. I signed the papers, she whispered. A slow smile curved my lips. Good girl. Harvey, do you think you'll ever be able to forgive me? I let the silence hang between us, letting the weight of her words settle. Then, with a quiet chuckle, I finally responded. Never. And with that, I ended the call. That was the last of it, the final nail in the coffin. After that, she disappeared. No frantic texts, no drawn-out custody battles. She understood she had already lost. The last I heard, she was scraping by in some crumbling apartment across town, clocking in long shifts at a greasy diner just to keep a roof over her head. And Joshua? He vanished after what I did to him. Some men don't recover from a beating like that. As for me, I moved on. I poured my energy into my son, into my business, into rebuilding the life that had nearly been ripped away from me. Do I feel any remorse? Not in the slightest. Because in the end, she got exactly what she deserved. And me? I walked away victorious. This story has come to an end. Betrayal is never just about broken trust. It's about the consequences that follow. Every action has a price, and sometimes that price is everything. In a world built on power and control, loyalty is the only currency that matters. The moment you gamble with it, you risk losing more than just love. You risk losing yourself. Choices define us, and once a line is crossed, there's no going back. Ella thought she could have it all: comfort, security, and forbidden desire. But in the end, she learned the hard way. Some mistakes are irreversible, and some betrayals don't come with second chances. What's your opinion? Please tell me which city and country you watched this video from, and I'll say goodbye to you until the next video. Goodbye.